Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species. And what we have here is a only half-broken satellite that I have sent up with a narrowband scanner that we unlocked with all that science we got from last time to create a decent map of the surface of the moon and get an idea of where we can find gypsum. My plan here is we are going to be coming down and landing a colonist base on the moon. So my next little bit is going to be dealing with that. I'm hoping to get that pretty much set up, because I think I can do that in just 1 or 2 launches. But the idea is I want to land a whole bunch of colonists on the moon so that I can earn the money that they generate by just, you know, existing and living and working on the moon. For every body that you have Kerbals on, the different jobs that they have give them different colony bonus roles, I suppose. And they each correspond to the different colony statistics. Geology gives funds, botany gives science, colonization gives reputation, I believe, and different types of Kerbals with different jobs give you different amounts of each one of these, but colonists give you all 3, and I figure having a big pile of lovely colonists sitting and doing research and making their home on the moon would be a great way to start making some money, because you can actually get a lot of cash from doing exactly that. But first we need to figure out where we should land. So we've done I've sent up a satellite with an orbital surveyor, the big survey module, to get a basic scan of the surface. And now we're going to use the narrowband to get a better idea of what we are looking for. And what we are looking for is gypsum. Because I believe the only thing you really need is, where is that? 3.2%. The only thing you really need to create a base that is self-sufficient on supplies is going to be gypsum. Gypsum can make fertilizer. Fertilizer plus mulch from existing supplies and existing Kerbals creates more supplies with agroponics. I've done a little bit of stalking of the MKS thread on the KSP forums, and I've kind of gotten confirmation that the only time you ever need the other supply chains, that is the ones that require organics and water and that whole thing, is if you are creating net new supplies. So if you wanted to actually like generate new missions, you might want to use them in that case. But if you're just making a self-sufficient colony, you can do it incredibly cheaply just by mining up gypsum. So that's the only resource we are looking for at the moment. Looks like 3.2% in this crater, 3.2% over in that crater, 4.4 down here by what I'm guessing is the poles, unless I'm oriented in a way that I'm not, unless I'm oriented differently than I think I am. Let's see, 4.4%, 4.4, where is that? Where is that? Oh, yeah, that's up at the poles. I wonder if there is a better place. Well, let's do a little bit of scanning and just try to figure this out. So I can set this to automatically refresh every 3.5 seconds, I think is as fast as that goes. So let's do that. Will that do while I'm time warping? No? Yes? Maybe? Anyways, let's rotate around and see what we can see. We're on a polar orbit around the moon to get an idea of all the different things, all the different biomes that we have available to us. And gypsum is not, there's not a ton of it. Interesting. I wonder, ooh, hello, what's all this then? Oh, this is more polar gypsum action. That's fascinating. And that's 4.5%. Ooh, what's all this then? Appears to be a crater here that has almost 5%. So that's a good candidate for a gypsum-related mine. And the reason why I'm looking for gypsum in particular, because substrate, I think it's substrate, can also be used for this purpose, but it is not as efficient. It's not going to be quite as good at doing the same sort of thing as as gypsum is. Gypsum is a higher efficiency mineral according to the MKS wiki. So this here is looking pretty good. It's not too terribly far from the equator of Moon. So I think we can plan on that. I'd rather not build a polar base. Like, that's lovely, but I don't actually want the difficulty in getting there and getting back that would entail. So I think that over here is going to be our place. So let's just whip around one more time so I can actually give our location a name. Coming around, scrolling off the side of the map here. Okay, so 4.79 Daughton's Pebble. I like that. I like it when it gives me a procedural like name as opposed to site 0K8. Okay, cool. So now we have our location. Although, let me just see really quick what the substrate situation looks like. Not even as good as the gypsum situation. Ooh, actually, 4.1, 5.0. Okay, I still feel good about my decision here. Alright, here we have our very heavy lifter that is picking up and tossing a big pile of material kits, basically. And this thing is being sent out first because it has... it's something that I'm planning on using in one piece. The next part is actually going to be very similar to what I sent out to Minmus, in that it is a collection of smaller modules that I will be dropping piecemeal, like little... you know, base building Pez kits. It will be a Pez dispenser of base construction, indeed. But anyways, this thing is going to sit down in one piece, and theoretically it should have enough fuel to pick up and land if it needs to. So I wanted to get this out there first. I've also attached some surface scanning modules to make sure that I have the right location as far as gypsum concentrations at the landing site. So this thing's coming out first, and hopefully this thing will have enough fuel to get this into a decent orbit and get this on its way towards the moon. So I'm really enjoying the idea of having this colonist base set up on the moon, because I think I'm just really missing out on a good way to make a reliable source of funds. And normally that's, you know, contract spam. You know, when you're playing career mode by yourself, you just spam contracts and do whatever, and you waste your time. But I don't like wasting your guys' time, and I don't like going way out of my way and ticking down timers while you guys aren't watching. I like to make sure that all of my big key events are things that we can share, and that I'm not, you know, wasting your time by showing you missions that aren't all that exciting, because I think that we're all here for the base construction and so forth. So being able to do base construction and earn some money in the process sounds pretty freaking great. So we separate our main stage, and that thing's got a ton of parachutes, so hopefully that's going to be able to get picked up and save me a little bit of cash on the way back down. The other issue is, like I said, I don't like to time warp all that far. I like to make sure that things are always happening and I'm not wasting time in between transfer cycle or transfer windows and everything else. So I like to keep things moving, like to keep a lot of missions up in the air. Unfortunately, that means I also don't have the luxury to just time warp 50 days, 60 days, 70 days while I'm waiting for the next big thing to happen. And also, I don't have the time to time warp to the next, big paycheck from the colony rewards, because my base on Minty Station is self-sufficient. And all these resources are getting pushed up and into planetary logistics. However, they also don't. I just haven't spent more than a couple of days outside of the last time I set that up. If you were to actually count things down, I'm not sure it's been super duper long. All right, so now we are just coming up to circularize. And hopefully I have engineered this thing correctly such that this transfer stage will take us only exactly out to the moon, and then I will discard it when I begin my descent. Alright, trying real hard not to miss my node. Double check that the moon's not coming up over the horizon. That would be way too handy. Oh, there it is, way up there. And burn. Beautiful. Alright, so let's get our solar panels extended. Let's get our Communitron extended as well. And the camera's flipping around telling us that we are in orbit. Slow it on down now. Okay, cool. Orbiting. Beautiful. Now let's get out to the moon. I think we're going to have to whip around. Ooh. Okay, I'm hearing things. Looks like we are going to be right around the periapsis. We are going to be heading out. It's just so much easier to get to the moon than it is to Minmus. I don't find either task super challenging, but it's just pretty great. Pretty great that it's such a simple thing. Just it's equatorial. There's no inclination change to worry about. All right. And push that up, our inclination up just slightly. And there we go. All right, begin slowly turning around. Did I actually? I did. So I actually have Werner engines up here to help this thing to maneuver. And theoretically, those are actually on the center of mass of this top part of the stage here, so it should be able to translate around as I go in for a landing and make my landing a little bit more precise. Hopefully. We'll see how that actually goes. Alright, so we are making our transfer burn out to Moon, the Moon, not Minmus. And it looks like this is actually going to be just about perfect. Oh, I'm so psyched about that. I love it when I'm able to engineer something to any degree of precision. I think I mentioned in the comments pretty recently that I kind of slap things together in the VAB just to make something that works. I'm not super worried about making like really pretty rockets, especially stuff that's going to get discarded in orbit anyways, or discarded before I leave orbit, or that I'm planning on just smashing into the moon anyways. So I don't worry too much about the aesthetics, but I do like a rocket that looks kind of like a rocket. Unfortunately, I'm doing almost nothing but these lander type things, so I have these like outrigger engine pods and things like that are the majority of what I've been building. So not my favorite designs as far as aesthetics, but they've been working, so that's really all I'm concerned about. All right, perfect. About 142 meters per second of delta V remaining. It looks like if I push in just a little bit more, we should be on a collision course, and that way I can discard this stage. Very nice. So instead of stressing about sending this out and then sending out the next thing, then sending out the next thing, I'm gonna actually do the unthinkable and just run this through. That's another big reason why I'm doing this all in, why I'm doing this base on the moon, is because I just really don't like all that jumping back and forth. One of my least favorite things to do in a campaign is to just build for hours, like 3 or 4 or 5 ships, and then launch them one after the other. It's kind of cool to like have an entire mission or set of missions in mind when you're designing something, but it can be a little bit tedious to do the same thing over and over again instead of doing, you know, one thing, a design and then a launch and then a mission and then design, launch, mission, design, launch, mission. That's what I would prefer to do if it was up to me. But sometimes you just gotta hit that transfer window and you don't want to waste time. Alright, so we are closing in. I am actually going to burn this retrograde to my orbit, slow us down a bit. Very nice. And discard the stage. Separate a little bit from our booster, and now we are going to point radial out. Radial out, I said. To raise our orbit a little bit, so that we don't smash into the surface. So it's probably not the most efficient way for me to do this, now that I think about it. I feel like I'm burning a lot more fuel than I should be doing on this right now. But that's fine. I think we'll be just fine. Periapsis and circularize, 185 meters per second. Very nice. That leaves us about 800 to get to the surface, which is only going to give us one shot. I'm pretty sure. And even that's a little bit dicey, given how fast we're going right now. But let's see how this goes. Coming in, we can see the lunar surface, mooner surface, burning to capture down to 30 kilometers. Okay. Beautiful. So, we are now traveling at 531 meters per second. Hopefully, if I can do this just right, and it looks like we're going to want to wait until this is in the sun. I mean, that's not a great thing to land in the darkness. But let's start warping and see how this goes. And we'll throw our alarm clock nodes up, because we do have to visit the Starlifter shuttle in just a bit. Ooh, that's going to make me dizzy. Alright, we are rotating around. Orbiting as the tidally locked moon rotates around as in its orbit, coming around into the sun side. And it looks like, yes, we are indeed aiming for that crater, so that'll be kind of fun. And let's get... where is Matt? Okay, this is actually a good spot. So let's do this. And we're in the darkness. That's fine, probably. Huzzah! This is the message that we recovered that massive booster for 164,000 funds. So let's save our game. And what the plan is here is we need to both lower our orbit, in towards the planet, lower our altitude, and also our inclination. So let's try to do both of those things at the same time. Alright, I am becoming concerned that we are not going to be able to make this, but let's see how it goes, I suppose. Alright, so save again now that we have this trajectory plotted, although I don't actually have any signal right now. So that's pretty cool. Oh, now I have a signal. Okay. That should still be fine, although I don't think I need to go quite so far down. Okay, something a little bit more like that. Save a couple meters per second of delta V. Hopefully we have satellite coverage at the landing site, but we will see about that. Looks like it should be pointed at the ComNet relay, which should be good. Alrighty then. Don't need this burn to be too precise, but we just need to actually affect the vector change that it describes. Oh, this is going to be so tight as a landing. Oh my goodness. Okay. I have no idea if this is going to work. I'm not sure that it is. This might be a very expensive screw-up. And lesson in Delta V planning. And here we go. Yeah, there's just no way, is there, with gravity losses? No, this is just not gonna happen. Alright, and we are coming down and speeding up. Let's put it down our wishful thinking legs. Alright, so we're aiming for this little area right here. And I need to suicide this as best I possibly can. Yeah, this is once again paying penance for the idea that, oh yeah, it's going to be plenty of Delta V. I know exactly how much it's going to require to get down to land there on the moon. The moon has higher gravity. It is worse than Minmus as far as the Delta V requirements, so you need to be very careful or else you end up doing things like this. I honestly thought I was going to have enough extra Delta V to kind of hover around and look for a better landing site and all that, but I'll be thrilled if this lands at all. Oh gosh, it's so close. So, look at how close that is. 14 meters per second left. Oh, and... Oh! No! No, 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 no! No! Ah, bonk. Bonk. Well, that's fine. That is just fine. It got down without exploding. Huzzah! It's on its side a little bit, but it's still good. Okay, run analysis. 7.12% gypsum, so this is an even better location than I thought. Unfortunately, I'm on a slope, so that's not great. But I also don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. Like, my other base is built on a worse slope than this. Alright, so the next step is going to be sending out the other pieces of the landing base, but I think that's all the time that we are going to have for this episode. Who'd have thunk it, being able to actually launch and complete one entire mission in one episode, from front to back. Anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a like and share down below, and I will see you next time.